Hey there friends, it's Missy again. Thanks so much for stopping by for a new process video for Hip Kit Club. And I'm going to be using the 2019 April hip kits today and also one of the exclusive spring cut files. This cute little kite cut file is part of a bigger group of different spring icons. And there's the photo I'm going to use today, a little black and white shot of my daughter. And you see how she's looking up to the left? That's going to help guide my design. I kind of wanted to have the kites floating around on the layout above the photo and over to the upper left to where it looks like she's looking across at them. And I just had to go for this paper. I know you have all seen it. It is one of the Paige Evans Horizon collection pattern papers, the gorgeous rainbow sunburst paper. And thank goodness I got 2 copies of this, because this one I'm going to cut into and use it to back some of these kites. And I thought that it would be fun to kind of do sort of a monochromatic color scheme for each individual kite. So I took this big kite here and glued it down on the middle line of 2 different shades of the pink. So it's still all pink, but you've got a darker side and a lighter side. And I thought I would do a different color scheme with each kite. So this one's going to be the blue, and this shape of the kite is really easy to do for backing like this because it's basically just a big diamond. And so I just glued it straight down to the paper, and then I'm going to go around the edges and trim off the excess. And there you have it. You could also do each individual piece in the kite a different pattern paper and have, you know, multicolored kites. But I toyed with the idea of just doing monochromatic all over the entire layout. But when this paper is involved, it's so inspiring to do a rainbow color scheme. And so I did wind up cutting some more kites on another sheet of white cardstock just because I felt like I needed more. And so they're all done there. And now I'm just going to play around with the placement of these kites. I am going to use some white cardstock as my background. I think this is going to really enable all of those bright colors in the kites to stand out. And since there's so much going on, it's going to be a pretty busy layout with all those colors and cut files, that I thought a white background would be the best choice here. And that is smooth white. I think it's the Basil Marshmallow. It's pretty thick and it does really well with mixed media. So I am going to use some of the color kit this month, the Lindy's Stamp Gang Magical Powders. I'm just adding some clear gesso to start here, and I let that dry completely. So my page is prepped and ready to go. And then all I'm going to do here is spritz it with water and then dump a little bit of the blue powder into that puddle of water, spritz it again, and then just start turning my paper from side to side and letting that color sort of run and blend. Now I did want to add in a little bit of that periwinkle color, and that is from a Shimmers. It's called Frostbite, and we got that several color kits ago, and it is the perfect match to that periwinkle blue in the Paige Evans papers. And so I wanted just a variety of blues, different variations of the color, and all I'm doing is just turning the paper, spraying it down, adding some of the powder, spritzing more water. You can't mess this up. I'm telling you, there's no wrong way to do this. You just spray the water, let the color run, and then turn the paper. And my goal here was just to kind of get a color wash of blues on the background, because I thought it would be pretty to sort of create a sky effect for all those kites. And my paper here, most of the water has soaked in, or I've dabbed it up. It's not completely dry. It's still definitely wet, but it's not dripping wet anymore. And you can kind of see the effect here, how that pretty blue looks with all of these colorful kites. And I like that it doesn't cover the entire background. It's still kind of watercolor and splotchy looking. I know splotchy is probably not a real word, but that's kind of what I think of when I do these watercolor backgrounds, and the shape they form. It's just kind of a big splotch. So I'm going to come back and add some splatters from that Shimmers, and then I'm going to add in the other 2 Lindy's powders here. And this is another way to use them. With the blue, I used it directly on the paper, but here I'm adding the powder first to some plastic and then adding a little bit of water to make it a watercolor. So, you know, there's no one correct way to use these. The one thing I would not do, I would not fill the little pot of powder with water and just turn all of it to liquid. because it's very, very concentrated. It's very bold, and so you just need a little bit at a time. And I just added some splatters there to kind of add a little bit more of something onto the background. So there's now some hints of that light orange color and hints of pink. And a lot of this gets covered up with the kites, but it just adds a little more detail to the background, I think. So I'm going to start to work on everything else now. I love the placement of the kites. I did add some tissue paper behind my photo, and now I'm going to raise the kites up off the background using some adhesive foam. And this is just some fun foam. I get this at Walmart in a pack of 40 sheets for I think $3, $5. It's very cheap, and there's a ton of it, and you can cut it to any shape you want, and one side is sticky, and so I love using that. Now I'm going to add several different things behind and around the photo. I'm going to pull in some of the project life cards or pocket life cards, and I'm going to back the photo with that pink one and then this striped one, and I'm just going to tear it up and kind of add a couple of mismatched layers under there. And I do play around with some other embellishments here and just test some things out. I have some of those layered dimensional tags from the Horizon collection. I've got the die cut ephemera, some of that over there, some of the chipboard stickers, and the cardstock sticker sheet. And I'm just playing around, seeing what I've got, seeing what looks good. The thing about using all the colors and the kites is I feel like I can use any color of pretty much anything around the photo because I've got so many colors going on. But I do like to, you know, not use too much of one color. I like to space it out, and I like to make sure that, you know, all the green isn't together or all the pink isn't together in a layout like this. I did add some of those Heidi Swapp foam corners, some of the pink ones on the photo. I thought those were cute. I hadn't used any of those yet, and you get a whole box in the kits. There's, I think, 5 different colors. Really, really cute detail to photos there. And I'm going to go back and forth with what to add on the photo and under the photo. I do love these 2 little banner stickers here, and this little piece here is from one of the 2x2 paper pads. It says follow your dreams, and I like how that looks over to the side. I'm trying to figure out if I want to add anything underneath the left side of the photo, because the kites sort of, you know, take up so much space. I don't want to make that area overly busy because it's plenty busy as it is. I am going to add that cute little puffy sticker from the exclusive sticker sheet that says I love your smile. And then here's something I do pretty much on every single layout is add tangled thread. I wanted a pop of green. See how I have the green kite up at the top and then that green little banner sticker on top of the photo? I felt like I needed another point of green over to the left, and I couldn't find anything that was the right phrase or the right size, so I just added some tangled thread underneath that pink kite, and it adds a nice little pop of green there. And so now my eye has that visual triangle of green. And definitely don't have to do the visual triangle thing. I know some people tend to shy away from rules and regulations when it comes to the design principles, and there's no right or wrong way to do this. A lot of times I don't do visual triangles. I just do what I think looks good at the time and what I feel like doing and feel like using, and so sometimes it does work. Now here's where I go into more of the embellishing. I thought I would add some tone-on-tone little things on top of each kite in coordinating colors, and so that's what I'm playing around with here. The more I add, though, the more I feel like it just starts to get too busy. I feel like it starts to confuse me. I don't even know if that makes sense, but things start to get lost. Like, I feel like that pink butterfly, you can't even really see it because it sort of blends in the same color. And then I feel like, well, I have too many different shapes going on. So then I thought, well, let me look and see. And I actually had a heart, whether it was chipboard or regular sticker, to match all of these kites. And so that's what I'm going to use instead of everything else. I'm going to pull out little hearts and use those in the middle of each. And I feel like they still kind of stand out, but they still blend in enough to where they're not making the kites look too busy. I do want a pop of that darker blue color underneath the left side of the photo, and then I play around with what to add. Do I want to add this yellow flower, or do I want to add another circle that says hello? I go back and forth between that one and this one, and I settle on this one. I like that it's got a little pop of yellow, but it's still got some white on it. And now I'm coming back in with thread. I felt like I needed a pop of orange up in that corner. So that's what I'm doing here, is adding a little bit of orange thread. And the thread really, you know, it has no significant meaning. It's just there to add texture and color. And I know I get a lot of comments from people who just say, I don't get that. Why do you do that? And I have no reason why. I just like it. It's fun to use. I feel like it's, I love texture and I love pops of color, and I just feel like it adds that. And especially in a case like this where I've got kites, you know, kites are supposed to be free flowing and they've got their little tails flowing in the wind. I felt like, you know, the thread just kind of adds to that whole idea in this case. So yeah, I just add some little details. So I'm going to glue down all of those hearts. And then here's where I tried to add another title down at the bottom with these navy alphas. Oh my goodness. Navy alphas. But I just felt like it was just too much. I like the pop of the blue. And honestly, I couldn't even think of a title for this. So I was just going to go with Love Her. And I didn't like it. I don't know. The photo was at an angle, so I took it off and thought, well, I'll think of a title later. I thought about using this little piece that I cut up here that says Get Your Happy On. That was from the 2x2 Horizon paper pad. And I thought about putting it over here to the left, but then I thought it's just kind of random. I don't have any other little phrases around the kites anywhere else. And it just kind of, I wind up not using that. And I wind up not adding another title. I'm going to let the Follow Your Dreams over to the right serve as my title. And I thought, you know what? It's fine. Sometimes you just need a small title. You don't have to have a big title. So there it is. I did add the journaling, and I made sure everything was glued down, and that's the final layout. I did add a couple of little butterflies and dragonflies on the background close to the colors that matched, but that is it. I really like how this turned out. I love that it's so colorful, and I love how it looks like she's looking up at the kites. I really try to use my photos to help control my design and where I want things to go. So always really look at your photos and see if they can help you dictate what direction to put something in, or, you know, if you want to use something on the top half or the bottom half or anything like that. I hope that makes sense. But anyway, let me know if you have any questions. I will be more than happy to answer. And make sure you check out hipkitclub.net for all the info. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.